So it's that time of year here in the Pacific Northwest. End of November. Got the boat out for a good run yesterday, and it's time to winterize it. There's only about 4 steps to it. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I save the major maintenance to the pros, but this is pretty straightforward. Of course, you should follow the instructions and guidelines in your owner's manual. This is a 19-foot SeaRay with a 4.3 liter MerCruiser in it. Pretty simple. As I said, 4 steps. So first one is you don't want to fill up your fuel tank and then add some stabilizer to it. Follow the directions on the bottle, about 1 ounce per 8 gallons of fuel. Next, just get the muffs connected to the lower unit. Get the hose hooked up. And then we're going to run the boat for about 5 or 10 minutes. Get the thermostat to open up, get water through the engine block, and we'll turn that off and then go into the engine. I've got a single point drain on this unit, so pretty easy. I'll show you that later. Drain all the water out of the block. Then we're going to get the antifreeze bucket hooked up, get the hose from the antifreeze, connect it down to the muffs. We're going to fire the engine back up and basically flow through about 5 gallons of antifreeze and shut it down, clean it up, and wait for March. So we'll look at the steps here. So I'm not going to show you how to add fuel stabilizer, just follow the directions. We'll jump right to getting this thing fired up with the muffs and the hose connected. Don't make fun. Yes, I know I need some zincs and there's some corrosion on the motor. I bought this thing with about 14 hours on it, and I think for those 14 hours it was sitting on a dock in some salt water, so I'll get around to doing those. You may also notice that white tape down there. When I run the hose through this thing, I started getting an alarm, and it was almost as though there wasn't enough water getting in for cooling purposes. So there's a hole on the front. I think it's an additional intake point for water. Not quite sure, but when I sealed that up and put the muffs on and put the water and fire the motor again, everything seems fine. So you may want to check on yours if you have that similar problem. Before we run the motor, I want to make sure that the antifreeze is all ready to go. So I picked up this kit from West Marine. It's really just a tub, hose, faucet, 5 gallons of antifreeze, and we'll fill that up, get that put onto the swim plank on the boat. So after we finish with the single point drain, we'll be ready to fire the motor with the tub running here. Alright, the antifreeze is ready and waiting, so we'll go ahead and turn on the hose, fire the engine, and get it up to temperature. Alright, so I got the hose hooked up there, got the muff set, had to swap them around, got that crazy alarm going off on the boat there. Anyway, it's running. I love the sound of the old boat motor. Let that go for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then keep an eye on the thermostat, and then we'll go to the single point drain. I'm going to slip away and have a beer. Alright, thermostat is showing that we're in operating temperature here, so we'll go ahead and kill the motor, turn the water off, and go back to the single point drain, and then go from there. Alright, as I said, I got the 4.3 liter in this thing, MerCruiser. So I get the convenience of the single point valve. On the left there you'll see the butterfly nut here. We're going to go ahead and open that up. I'm just going to allow the air flow through, and then we're going to release this guy, and down below you'll see all the water that was last cooling the engine. So we're going to let that drain out completely. When that water stops flowing, we know that all the engine's out of the block there. And we'll go ahead and fire the motor, turn on the antifreeze. Alright, in that last segment there I realized I said when all the engine's out of the block. I meant when all the water's out of the block. I'll chuck it up to the beer I just said. So, water stopped flowing here. We'll go ahead and throw the butterfly back in here. Get that good and cinched up, nice and snug. Now we'll go ahead and just lock this guy back down. And get that good and snug. Now we'll go back, open up the antifreeze line, fire the motor again. Let those 5 gallons run through. Call it good. Alright, so here we go. Go ahead and open this up. Flow that down. Fire the motor. And depending who you talk to, theoretically with that single point drain, you're actually draining all the water out of the block, which would prevent any sort of freezing and cracking in there. So one might argue that the antifreeze is unnecessary, but for, you know, for the 30 bucks for the set and 25 bucks in antifreeze, it's probably worth just that extra step. Alright, so it's going to wrap up the winterizing. You raise the motor up, pull that tape off, give the boat a wipe down, cover it up, and park it for a few months. That's it.